Rather good, but anyway, at halftime, as I said during the call, we had a really special opportunity, and it was to go in the rooms with this world champion Australian team, and we're going to hear from their coach a little bit later on, but first up, I think we hear from their captains, Brad Ness and Justin Eveson.
So engage him enough that he's out, enough that you know we can come out. Right now we're in the area that's 45 down. There's 10 players in that area. We can't. There's no room to pick.
The middle guys, all they're doing is they're just that little guy's dropping down, and we've got three players on the edge of the key underneath the foul line. So if we can get that big, the middle player up and out.
No, I'm going to stand here so you get on the camera again.
Yeah, but
it only goes down when I get rid of the ball. So if I have the ball, I set that thing early. Run that sequentially. You got to stay there.
Stay there, fake it, even tee off at the moment. We're going to the guys in the middle, but we're not actually getting the ball to us when we actually get in there. We're working bloody hard. And when Jay and myself been in there 2 or 3 times, we've just taken that shot.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the problem. I think the problem is that we're engaging that player too far low.
Yep.
That's the only problem. And to come pick for you is real hard. You know what I mean? If you engage him, but then just stop, rather than curl all the way down to the 45. Just stay high there, engage him, then we can come grab him. We just got no spacing. That's the problem.
Fake the shot.
But having said that, we're still up. Like, you know what I mean?
You shoot well.
All right. Because you've got to relish in this situation that we're getting a ball game here, okay? All the things that we talk about, the little things, the process things, this is the time to do it. There's a big stage, there's a #1 ranking on the line. This is when you see what you're made of. When we talk about your mental toughness, your basketball IQ, are you going to dominate? Are you going to fight like anything for every inch of the floor? These are the situations when people sit up big in their chair and make it happen. So there's no big red panic station button. We're playing it on our terms. We're just not putting the ball in the hole. 41% is our lowest percentage for the tournament. Okay? Relax. Free throws. If we make 3 more free throws, we're shooting up around 80%. We make 4 more layups, suddenly it's that 20-point buffer that we want, that we like to have. All right? We're working too hard. We're not applying this. All right? Intelligent aggression, remember? Okay? We can get what we want if we make it work. All right? Play to your strengths. Take them out of their strengths. They're now beating us a different way. Okay? 4 and 5 instead of Rio. So big guys are doing their job. Lows and mids, you've got to step up to the plate as well. Okay? We've got to relish in this. We've got to love this. This is what makes us battle hardened. Okay? Apply the process for 20 more minutes. Okay? 12 guys, apply your IQ. You know, problem solving. That's what basketball is. I trust you can do it. Let's go.
1, 2, 3. Rollers.
Yes, fantastic there. Ben Ettridge, a very calm Ben Ettridge, the Australian coach in the huddle at halftime and in the change rooms there. The Australians, they have a fight in their hands. They're trailing Japan, or they lead Japan rather, but it's only by a very narrow 6 points. We'll be back with all the second half action right after this.
An enigma.
When you cannot destroy an image, you start to fear it.
A mystery.
The most important image of Egypt, and we just cannot say who it was.
A determined detective.
We base our knowledge on facts, and the facts are here.
One man is challenging the accepted history of the Sphinx.
This is pure propaganda.
The Sphinx Unmasked, 8:30 Tuesday, ABC 1.
What's the story?
Beauty, intrigue and debate tomorrow.
The river's gift of life has never run dry. But for how long will her benevolence continue to flow?
Following Ganges, the 39 steps.
I am a freelance agent. My housekeeper told me you were an accountant.
I don't make a habit of telling people that I'm a spy.
Then Compass.
I'm going to be faithful to the word of God, even though, in terms of the popular culture, I'm a villain.
31-25 here at the Dandenong Basketball Stadium. And the Australians are leading the Japanese at halftime. We saw up in the change rooms there, Brendan, we saw IQ, written up, the buzzwords for Australia. IQ, threat, fight was one of them, was the acronym I think that was referred to up there. FLF, it refers to being a fighter, and scrapping out in the court. And there was another one as well, one of their KPIs.
Yes. We could see they had the statistics written there as well. And it's those small things that he was talking about, Coach Ettridge. He was saying, a couple more free throws, a couple more layups, and if they reach their KPIs, they're right back in this game. Well, I mean, they'd read the game now, I beg your pardon, they're up by 6, but the game would be well and truly in hand. But at the moment, it's hanging in the balance a little bit. If the Aussies don't come out and start meeting some of those KPIs that they set for themselves.
They're not used to being in this situation.
No, they're not. And these things didn't matter in the earlier games, and that's what we were talking about. What will Australia take away from here? And we were talking about them keeping their standards high and not wanting to miss those open layups. When they were up by 50, it didn't matter. But when you're only up by 6 and you're in a scrap with Japan, they really do matter. And these are the things they come up against the big nations in the USAs, the Great Britons, Germany, these other countries that are very strong. You miss a layup, you miss a free throw, it can be the difference between winning and losing a game.
All right, Brenda, well, half-time is nearly over with the players just returning to the court. Olivia McGrath's been scouting out what the Japanese coach's message was.
Yes, Darren, the Japanese coach very happy with their defence, happy with where they're at half-time. Interesting to hear Coach Ettridge talk about Fuji and Masubuchi because Coach Iwasa has given his team the directive to pass the ball to the big man Ryo Fujimoto.
No surprises there at all. He has 8 points, Fujimoto. Sean Norris with the ball has 13 for Australia, leading all scorers. Just recapping that Australia have won their matches in this tournament by 87, 83, 32, 31 and 36. So they haven't been threatened at all throughout the tournament. The Japanese have been a little bit closer to their opponents. Their two closest matches came against China and Korea. They beat the Koreans by 16 and the Chinese by 26. And, of course, losing to Australia. As another basket there from Miyajima. The margin is back to 4 points. A great start to the second half from the Japanese players.
Not what the Rollers would have talked about in the change room there at half-time at all. A turnover to start with and then a 2-point basket from the Japanese. 4-point game. We've got a scrap on our hands.
Yes,
fantastic.
Indeed. Norris. Eveson. In and out. Norris under the basket. Can't get it to go. Fujimoto extends his arms and collects the rebound. Japan have scored the last 5 points of the game, bracketing half-time. They went on a 10-0 run in the second quarter, reducing a 15-point deficit to 5. They're within 4 at the moment. Masubuchi, loose pass. It's off Michael Hartnett. It'll be a Japanese ball.
Good touch there from Mikey Hartnett, getting his hand in the way in the passing lane.
Just 4 seconds on the shot clock for Japan. So watch out for number 15, Ryo Fujimoto. He's being guarded by Brad Ness at the moment. They're just off camera. This is Tokarin. He can't shoot the ball. He'll have to now, though. Passes it into Fuji. Did he get it away? Basket counts.
Good basketball from Japan there. Wouldn't have thought they had time for that many passes, but...
Gee, it was a bullet-like pass from Tokarin.
On the replay there.
Japan
had 4 passes in 4 seconds there.
Incredibly within 2. Norris misses. Foul. Just a little bit excited there, Tetsuya Miyajima rather. As Ben Ettridge there, pacing up and down. He looks calm in most of his body language, but we haven't seen that strain on his face all week.
Things not quite going to plan here for the Rollers, but Shawnee knocks down another point. Sean Norris.
But it's in adversity, Brendan. I'm sure you would have experienced this on an international basketball court. That people say that it's in adversity when you learn the most about yourself.
Yes, it is true. I mean, the things that you train for, day in, day out, week after week, and year after year for that matter, this is where they come through. You start to do things automatically because you're in such a rush and such a panic. You've got so many other things on your mind that you really need to have the skills and those ingrained knowledge. And he talked about basketball IQ at a halftime break there. This is where it really comes through, making the right decisions.
Fujimoto, 2-point attempt is sweet. 10 points for Fujimoto. He's heating up. It's a 2-point game.
He's got the #1 team out there at the moment, Ben Ettridge. Not sure if that would have been his plan when he started the game. We've been hoping to have it well in control by now.
Oh, offensive foul. 3 seconds in the key. It wasn't a foul.
He's called a bit of an elbow or something from the referee there.
Has he? It didn't seem to wander over to the bench. I think it might be just 3 seconds in the key for Justin Eveson. As he also just sent an opponent tumbling, or there was an elbow.
The guy on this side here, we could see on the screen, but he didn't actually call the foul. The guy over near the score bench just said turn over 3 seconds. Might have been a bit fortunate to get away with that one.
Well, no, now they are calling a foul on Eveson.
Oh, okay.
So we've just, court announcer Peter Pizargov just confirming that, and the little paddle went up. So second foul on Justin Eveson. He's not in foul trouble, but you could see the aggression. Japan have a chance to draw a level. Tokarin under the basket. The scores are equal here.
Great play from Japan, stretching this Australian defence. What a challenge. Are they up to it? We'll find out in the next few minutes.
And what a pass. I think the pass came from Fuji, or was it Masabuchi? It was superb as Justin Eveson just steadies the ship for Australia.
Serious looking bench there for Australia. They're in a scrap.
Ben Ettridge just sitting down. He's been pacing up and down the court. Not quite with the same intensity as Brian Gorgian, the legend of coaching in the NBL. Of course, coached the Boomers as well. Fujimoto as Norris's court to the Aussies, 1 down on D.
He's really lighting it up now, Darren.
Yeah, he's up to a dozen.
Fujimoto's got a smile on his face as he wheels back down the court. He's loving this.
Eveson.
They're really clogging up the key there. You can see all the Japanese players all really close in the key there, not letting Australia go to his strength.
8 seconds on the shot clock. Norris, not known as a three-point shooter, so he goes to the foul line. Beautiful touch.
Sweet shot. Shawnee, the Wiz Norris. We need you now.
He's got 17 points, leading all scorers. The man who was an international all-star at 21. He's now 24 and coming into the prime of his career. This is Masabuchi. Started things for Japan in a brilliant fashion. Fujimoto, you back in to make that as Ness slips over. I don't think there was a foul there. I don't think there was any contact at all from Masabuchi, but Brad Ness just looked like he was tilting his chair to try and reach up and collect that rebound. Let's have a look. Or maybe a
little bit. Scratched his new chair.
Yes, he won't be thrilled about that.
We'll get a few more scratches on it, I'm sure, before too long.
3 fouls now on Masabuchi.
Again, strong defence from the Japanese team there again. Just not letting the Aussie big guys get under the basket, but young Mikey Hartner does.
And he was in a difficult spot. He doesn't have the flexibility and the balance there to actually make that shot, but he did the right thing. He just threw up a field goal attempt, and because he was fouled, he'll go to the line for a couple.
I mean, that looked like the Japanese strategy there. I mean, the defensive strategy obviously locked down the big guys from Australia, and they were prepared to let the lower classification players roll in.
They mentioned there in the graphic that he was in the All-Star 5. That was at the Rollers World Challenge in July, where Australia took on and thrashed Canada, Great Britain and Japan.
Today's a new day, and Japan are bringing it to Australia, though.
Hartner misses both. Eveson's in best position, and the Japanese had to be careful. That was Miyajima. He's got 3 fouls. So's Masabuchi, number 5. This is Miyajima, who needs to collect it. Hartnett did brilliantly.
Hartnett, yes.
What ball control at pace. Crucial turnover. And there's another foul. This is on Tokarin, number 6.
They're starting to get in a little bit of foul trouble now, the Japanese. A few have got 3. Will this start to tell down the stretch, Darren?
Yeah, I think it might. We saw that with Korea as well. And more importantly than that, I think that's the 4th team foul for the quarter. And that will mean that from the next foul onwards, any defensive foul from the Japanese will send the Australians to the free throw line.
And there's still 5 minutes to go, so
yes.
I'll let you be careful. A timeout.
The timeout's called. Australia leading Japan by 2 points. The timeout called by the Aussie coach Ben Ettridge. We'll listen in.
You've got to get to the high elbow here off the baseline right now. JD, short corner. Sean Norris, top of the free throw line here. Jay's going to circle around. What we're trying to get is, like we would off our normal baseline, is as Jay comes around, get these two with a bit of confusion. Brad, you've got this area to operate in. You're either going to get a pick and come under, or you're going to come over the top, all right? Sean, if Jay comes hard and draws these two, you got the middle, all right? If Jay comes around and gets the ball here, Boomer, you can pick, all right? Let it work. Let it work. Count it out. 1, 2, 3, bang, all right? 2 points here, then a stop.
1, 2, 3,
right here, Boom. Let's go now. You'll get the ball. They'll all suck to Jay. You're going to get the ball.
So Boomer there, Brad Ness.
Yeah, big Boomer. Brad Ness, that's right. Captain of the team.
And, yeah, so Australia will inbound, get the ball from the end. Coach Ben Ettridge obviously diagramming that play.
Yes, yeah, it looked like they were going to run some sort of a dribble in, although Justin's just been able to cut straight through there. That's one option. Just beat him with chair skill. Justin works very hard. That's another one on 15, is it?
It's
15, Fujimoto?
No, it was on number 4, Fuji.
But Justin's disputing that, I believe.
He certainly thinks it should have been on Fujimoto. Shingo Fuji's got his arm on the air, and he's certainly happy to claim the foul. Fujimoto has 3 personal fouls, so they would not want another one assessed against him, the Japanese. So his teammate's happy to take the rap. There's still some confusion. The Taiwanese referee is, of course, neutral referees.
Yes, so you would think that the strongest referees would be from Australia and Japan, having very strong domestic leagues, but having to have neutral referees means that perhaps the second tier down countries like Taiwan.
Now, what has just happened here? There has been a clear error, unless the basket went in. The score bench, they're counting the basket. Now, the score bench counting the basket, or sorry, the referee's counting the basket from Eveson, and that means it's a 3-point play.
It's like a human error, but the replay will show us when we get a hold of it.
So, Australia leading it by 5, and now it's by 3.
The shooter's
Shingo Fuji, yes, definitely got the shooter's roll.
Did a lap. Well, they all count. They all look the same on the scoreboard.
So it's 40-37 with 5 minutes in the third. Norris gets it to Hartnett. Masabuchi closes out on him, leaves Ness open. Decides to go for Norris instead. They're closing out on the shooters, so Hartnett's left open. It's a bit overcooked it a little bit. Doyle chases down the loose ball. Eveson, back pick set by Hartnett, good play. Cutting hard was Norris, fouls on Fuji again.
And Sean Norris special there, cutting hard through the key. There's very few people in the world can control him, and just gets a hand up there by the Japanese guy. I think good gamesmanship, good sportsmanship there. And a replay, we see Shawnee cut down the guts there. No position from that Japanese player. Chair contact's okay, but you've got to have position covering the offensive player's lane to be called good defence, and in that occasion it wasn't.
Sean Norris has really brought his A game here today, and even shooting his free throws a little bit better as well. He's 4 out of 6 from the charity stripe. He's got 18 points. Also got 2 assists and 7 rebounds. The average is nearly a triple-double, which is double figures in any 3 statistical categories, but for him it's points, rebounds and assists. In the National League, he averages 30 points and 9 rebounds and almost 9 assists as well. He's an incredible talent.
Yeah, there's not many more superlatives we can use about Shawnee Norris. He's done it all, and I'm just going to enjoy watching him play over the next coming years.
Masabuchi.
10 years worth.
Yeah, probably do. And well, if he plays till the same age as you did, Brendan, we might even have 16 years worth. Yeah, who knows? Even more, 18 years. Eveson just trying to tilt away. Got some contact from behind. No foul called. Fujimoto reels it in. Jeremy Doyle, superb.
That's what we want.
Brilliant. Can Norris collect the points? He decides against it. It was good defence there from Miyajima. Ness. Australia leading by 5. The captain won't get a shot attempt away because there's been a foul called. It's on number 15. There's the steal from Jeremy Doyle. It was brilliant anticipation. That was the defence from Miyajima as well. Stopped Norris's run, but 4 fouls now on Ryo Fujimoto. We said it was a massive moment in the game in the second quarter when he got his first basket of the match. He's now got 12 points. He's looking good. but he sits down with 4 fouls, 3.5 minutes to go in the third term. Ben Ettridge, the Australian coach, has been good enough to join us. Ben, that is a big blow that you've been able to strike there with Fujimoto having a rest.
Oh, well, that's the game plan, get him in foul trouble early, and then we just run the horses, and we just overpower 12 and 13. They won't be able to push with us.
Yeah, Ben, they'll find it tough now to guard the tall timber under there. I saw at half-time you had basketball IQ written up on the board. That's something that you guys obviously work on, and you're looking for some good decisions from the guys coming down the stretch here.
That's it. They've got to apply their trade. We're full, as professional as we can be, and this is their profession when they're here for the 10 days or 7 days they're here. And each of them bring a different bit of intellect to the game, and I want them to apply that. This is basketball's about problem solving, and they're doing a good job at the moment.
We also saw on the whiteboard, the butcher's paper there, that some of the KPIs, you know, the foul shooting and a couple of missed layups, I think the shooting percentage was down a little bit. That didn't matter in earlier games, but in a tough game like this, and when you get to the big championships like World Championships and Paralympics, those little things do matter.
Oh, that's it. We want to be as efficient as we possibly can, and we've identified those 3 areas at this tournament that we want to improve. Free throws haven't been where we wanted them to do for the tournament, but field goals, that's our lowest, I think, for a half. So we've tried to address that.
3 minutes 11 to go.
Ben Ettridge there, the Australian coach. Thanks for joining us again, Ben. We'll let you get back to the serious duty of coaching this team. They're up by 7 at the moment.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, great to have Ben Ettridge right throughout the tournament. It's been fantastic, the access that he and his coaching staff and the players as well have given us right throughout the week, as that's a loose pass from Jeremy Doyle. Just the 6th turnover assessed against the Australians. Japan in transition. Fuji over to Masabuchi. He's a shooter. Back to Fuji. A 1.5-point classification guarded by a 1-point man in Doyle. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Masabuchi short. Hartnett kept it alive, but it'll go back to Japan.
The Japanese testing the Aussie defence here. Nothing easy about this at all. Tough D there from Jay.
Yeah, Tetsuya Miyajima was pushed backwards. He's one of the players that Ben Ettridge said the Aussies were going to target. Number 13, also number 12. He's very confident that the Australians can outpush them, and by outpush, is he talking about in terms of speed and in terms of strength, or is he more talking about in terms of positioning the chair and skill in the chair?
Well, it all comes into it, Darren. I mean, getting chair position, getting down there first obviously helps you, but also down the stretch. I think he means outpush, as in it's a 40-minute game. Can they push hard for 40 like the Rollers can? That remains to be seen. You can also see the Rollers as they come down the court. They call it crossing. You probably get that a little bit in able-body basketball as well, where you try and rub a defensive player off. And we just saw then Brad Ness crossing with Justin, which got Justin into the open, which meant the defence had to react, and they weren't good enough, I guess. He didn't have chair position, and so he drew a foul.
Again, a beautiful snap on the twine for Justin Eveson. He's up to 18 points. Sorry, 17 points. Got the compression garment there on his right arm, just keeping his elbow and his forearm, well, not in place, but keeping them nice and warm and giving him a little bit of extra support.
He has had an operation on that right elbow recently in the past few months, so he's obviously looking after it.
So Australia just pulling away from Japan now. They're up by 9. It's arm's length. The Japanese did go on a 10-0 run earlier and eventually drew level. Eveson doing a really good job there to push in front of Miyajima. Helped to get a couple of teammates free, but not free enough.
He's working for the high percentage we can see there. Not wanting to take that three-point shot just yet. And Jeremy Doyle. Great shot from Jeremy Doyle there. A lower classification player. They left him open. They don't want to leave him open. He's got to be knocking those down. Great work.
Well, Jeremy Doyle 2 for 2. Yannick Blair has 2 points as well. Michael Hartnett's had 5 field goal attempts down the other end. Masabuchi, in fact it wasn't. It was Miyajima with the 3-point bomb as Fujimoto looks on, I should say. Miyajima has 11 points. He's stepping up, keeping Japan in the contest.
More fouls for Japan, though. This is going to hurt them. These new guys have come on. The other, the starting 5 got in foul trouble. Now their second 5, if you like, are starting to get in foul trouble as well. And we've got another sub there.
And this is what Australia do. Brendan, you've been talking about it all week. Just grind away. We saw it against Korea. Korea kept Australia very, very close in their match. They, in the first quarter, certainly. They were in front at 12-7, Korea. And they were in touch at quarter time, only trailing by 9. The problem was they had 10 personal fouls recorded against them in the first quarter. All of their starting 5 were in serious strife, and it enabled the Australians just to run away later in the game. You see a similar pattern emerging here. The Japanese are a little bit more talented and a little bit deeper as Tokarine gets tumbled.
Good position there, though. Defensive position from Jeremy Doyle. That's allowed, no call from the ref. He threw it up probably thinking he was going to get a foul, but great defence from the Aussies there.
Now Eveson, under a minute until three-quarter time, gets it to Latham. Another assist from Justin Eveson. He's got 5. Bill Latham has the same number of points. Australia leading it by 11. 51 points to 40.
Consistent, persistent, resilient. I've heard those words come out of Ben Ettrich's mouth, and this is what we're seeing from the Aussies here today. Even they looked under threat, they're staying with it. They reassess how they're travelling with their targets and with their KPIs, and go out there and get it done.
.25 seconds left in the third. Perimeter shot taken there from Japan. It was Kogo. Hasn't seen much court time. Now the Australians can work it down for one last shot. 14 seconds remaining in the quarter. They lead by 11. They led by just 6 at halftime, so they've extended that. Eveson fighting hard to Norris. The whiz. Off target. Kogo secures the rebound. Yasu doesn't turn it over, so that is the hooter for three-quarter time. The Australians just drawing away by far enough for us to think that this game might be within their keeping. They lead Japan by 11 at three-quarter time. Brendan Dower.
Yeah, 11 points. Got away a little bit there at the end. I mean, it was a very competitive quarter. I don't think it's in the bag just yet. Australia are going to play for this.
Highlights of the third quarter, and the Japanese, who, as I said, trailed by 6 at half-time, drew level at 33 points all, with some brilliant play from Miyajima, Fuji and Ryo Fujimoto before he went to the bench.
Yeah, a bit of a spread of scoring there, but Fuji did light it up at the beginning of the quarter. A shame he's in foul trouble. That's going to hurt the Japanese, obviously, being their main man. And then will they be able to combat the tall timber from Australia, the Ness and the Everson and the big Billy Lathams down the stretch if he does foul out, indeed.
Well, the Japanese there with the task ahead of them, because this is even, I mean, we say it's uncharted territory for Australia, it's also uncharted territory for Japan. They haven't been this close to Australia in a very long time because they've lost their last 3 games by Australia by the smallest margin was 20 points. As we see the stats there, Eveson and Norris leading the way for the Aussies in points and also rebounds. They've clearly been the stars. We'll look for a little bit more from Brad Ness perhaps in this final quarter. For the Japanese, well, they've been led by Fujimoto with 12, Miyajima with 11. The man who got them started was Masabuchi with 9 points. And on the match stats, well, both teams shooting the ball at a pretty good clip, Brendan. 48% for the Japanese and also 41% for Australia.
Yes, not too bad. Australia wouldn't be happy with that percentage, though. They'd be looking to improve that here, especially as the attrition builds up on the Japanese. Their better players are sitting on the bench. The high-point Australian players should be able to get under the basket and get some high percentage shots.
So the final quarter underway. The champion of the Asia-Oceania region will be crowned after 10 minutes more play in this tournament, and it looks increasingly that it is going to be Australia for the 5th consecutive time.
The Perth connection there. Shawnee Norris up the floor with the ball. Justin just pushes like nothing else, gets position under the basket. Another assist to Shawn Norris.
He's got a couple of assists. Kogo rims out again. Oh, heavy contact.